Hello, I am KJ, and welcome to the first episode. Episode? Is that what we're calling these? Episode. The first episode of UX Fridays. I am very excited that you're here today. I cannot wait to bring little bits of information and content each week, introducing you to the world of UX. Specifically, I wanted to talk about the first topic is what is that difference between UX design and UI design? I'm going to cover that theme, UX versus UI, in 3 different short videos, so make sure you check out all 3. Let's get started. UX versus UI. I want to start with UI, user interface. But more broadly, what is actually an interface? A lot of times, especially in the sphere that we're working in, it's tied to this. We think of the interface as just what's on here and the technology that we use. But an interface is something that helps a human interact with a machine or an object to achieve a particular goal. Here's some examples of non-digital and digital interfaces. One of the most common ones is a steering wheel. A human would want to interact with that steering wheel for the goal of driving a car. In a machine, you may interact with joysticks to operate that machine. One of my favorite ones, it's called a Norman door, and that's a whole nother video. You would interact with the handle of a door to open that door. I have tons of different coffee mugs around me right now, but actually the handle of a mug is an interface to interact to drink hot liquid. Bringing it back into our digital space, the screen of a phone is a way to interact with a computer. Something that we should think about as we're broadening this scope is screenless interactions and kind of designing for those screenless voice user interfaces with the rise of Alexa and Google Home. The takeaway is that a UI designer designs how that interface looks, feels, and works. That could be how something is laid out on the screen of a phone, or it could be the position of the materials of a steering wheel or the shape of a coffee mug handle. User experience, UX, it is everything. It is all-encompassing aspects of the end user's interaction with the company, its services, and its products. Whether we strategize or we plan for it or not, an experience is already happening. It is our job to try to analyze that current experience. There are so many different factors that relate to design and development, but there are 7 that are very commonly tied with UX. Those are, is it useful? Does it serve a purpose? Is it usable? Is it findable? Is it credible? Do people trust it? Is it accessible, valuable, desirable? And that is a lot to unpack. That's also going to be a whole nother video, so stay tuned for that as well. If you think of user experience as that all-encompassing experience, something to make note of is that an experience is actually in the eyes of the beholder. We cannot, no matter how much we want to plan for it, we cannot tell an end user what their feelings are or their attitudes or how they're actually going to behave. An experience can change drastically depending on the context or the environment or the culture. UX design breaks down that creative and analytical process of designing what that desired or planned experience could be like or would be like when a user interacts with that product or service. A typical role of a UX designer, it includes analyzing those current processes, current user journeys, all those different touch points that could relate to pain points and thus analyzing those problems. If you can get out and do some field research, you can actually observe the behavior and understanding why they do things. As we are moving from more of that research and discovery and thinking about ideating and sketching different design concepts and possible desired solutions, a lot of that would be deciding and testing and validating those concepts. Bringing it back to a non-digital example, again, is testing that mug, the different prototypes that you may have, to discover which handle actually is the best utility and or interaction to accomplish that desired goal to drink your coffee. The takeaway of this with part 1 is that the UX designer is typically more analytical and research focused, hoping to understand those user needs, those pain points, any problems that we may have and problems that we have to solve for, and potentially those actual behaviors when they interact. Common misconception is that UX is functionality. It is not only functionality, and it's not only usability, and it's not only user research. It actually is, like I said, it's much broader than that. It does encompass all these things, but it's not one of these things individually. It is everything. That is part 1, and stick around for part 2. Thanks.